Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and Bannock, and welcome to episode 9 of the Spike Nation Weekly Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Campos, aka 40 Licks, and in today's episode I sit down with Purgatory Ironworks. We talk video games, early access video games, and basically ramble on for about 40 minutes. So, sit back, tune out, and enjoy. Remember, you can find all this and more on the Spike Nation Weekly Podcast.
Contrary to what you might believe, you just made a big mistake by getting rid of me. Hey, well, alright, feels good, well, all night, yeah. I feel you when I'm sleeping, slowly creeping up my walls. I smell you like a flower growing wild through my halls. Well, I can hear you calling, baby. I can hear you calling out my name. Well, I can feel you crawling, baby. I can feel you crawling through my veins. Well, through my mind like a hug.
Good evening, Spike Nation, and welcome back to the Spike Nation Podcast. I'm not going to call it the Spike Nation Weekly Podcast because I don't plan on putting them out weekly anymore. But this week, you guys are in luck. Jordan meeting the Spike Nation Studios is none other than Mr. Purgatory Ironworks himself. Welcome back to the podcast, Mr. Trent and Ty.
What is going on, guys?
I don't know what's going on with them, Trent. We'll find out in the comments below. But it's probably something unconstructive and bad. You know our audience. But I'm doing good, Trent, and thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. I really enjoy doing these little things. You know, it's one thing to be on camera and have to, have a script and everything. It's really nice to be able to just run your mouth for a while.
I know, this is a little free-form. But, Trent, you do a fantastic job on the videos, and we always enjoy the videos coming. But today we're gonna talk about something maybe not unrelated to Spike, since a lot of people post video game stuff. We're going to talk about video games today because, Trent, you're a man that I always wonder about, and I always, I'm fascinated by your job, but I want to know more about the man. And, Trent, what games, you had a couple things you want to talk about. What games this week do you want to share with the audience, or tell your expressions about?
Well, there's always some cognitive dissonance. And one of my favorite things to do at my blacksmith shows is when I talk about, being knowledgeable and being prepared and stuff like that, that whole spiel, that, people freak out when they find out that I build computer systems. You got to understand that I started on the Commodore 64. I played Pool of Radiance, which was the, outside of Zork, was the flagship.
First.
Oh my God! I mean, dude, look here. You talk about things being ingrained in your mind. I mean, I remember the translations from the little decoder wheel that you got with Pool of Radiance. All right.
Yeah, that was when the game they had to flesh out the games more in the packaging than on screen.
Oh yeah, man, it was crazy. The little decoder wheel is what was the early copy protection. And there were some game elements. And I remember that when you were in the original TAN, and you probably know nothing about this, I'd be very surprised if anybody else on Spike
remembers. I had it in television because my mom had bought it back in the day. She had worked at Toys R Us, and she bought it. And I think we just had some card game. I don't know. It was really bad. That's all I could say. Like, it's hard looking back. My first system was a Sega, and I remember the first day I got it. And I remember playing Nintendo before that. But that's around the time I grew up. I'm 26 years old now. I'm not going to... Trent, your age is infinite.
I know.
So.
Well, no, like I said, I'm 30. I'm actually 37 this year. So, but no, with these details, because this was really what we came up with. This was, pre-Nintendo. And, these games were insanely difficult. They were not well made. This was the birth of the gaming industry. But anyway, it was crazy. But it's always, people always kind of wig out because I am a gamer, I mean, to the core, but I happen to do the blacksmith stuff too. But you would think
I know that is a weird combo. You know, like I you know, I'm sorry, but when I go to these places and I generalize these people that work at the Renaissance Fair, you know, I more attest it to you being a fine actor. I'm like, this guy definitely lives in like a shed somewhere in the woods. Like, he hasn't heard of the internet ever, but like really these guys probably are more influenced by just building things anyway than it is because I you know, that I do find that fascinating that you build, you know, computers as well as fine pieces of art.
Well, it should be, and I'll tell you why.
It's more just the stimulation of your mind. You're like a golden retriever. You need to be stimulated or else you're going to just go insane, you know?
Well, but it's not that far out of what everybody, I mean, and here on Spike Nation, look here, everybody here on Spike Nation, I mean, pretty much should have at least a passing association with Dungeons and Dragons. If you get into like the Renaissance festivals and you get into Comic-Con, that type of thing, you know, the con people, the fact is that these are people that dress up in old stuff and are kind of this old school, but they tend to be the most tech savvy of the population. So it's not that much of a stretch. If you go to one of these SCA events, you know, these people are dressed up in armor and drinking ale and getting, you know, shit-faced and beating each other with sticks. But the fact is, most everyone there, I mean, as a cross-section, they are much better educated, and they're really your quote-unquote computer nerds. And I guess I got a dose of that simply because as a kid, I was a little bitty bastard. I was the little fat kid that everybody picked on. And
hey, don't tell me about it.
But see, here's the crazy thing. I hit 19, and I started competing in what would become MMA, and I got big quick. And so suddenly I was this picked-on computer nerd that suddenly was in a jock's body and just full of revenge.
Like, sit up and down, fucker.
You know, it's like, now, let's see, how much fucking lunch money do you owe me?
Anyway, I remember a quick little instance of me being a young kid and having repressed childhood memories. I remember this little fucking kid used to pick on my ass so bad, and I remember he used to like put me up against like the fence and the thing and just fucking like not take my money, but I think he was just honestly, I'm not trying to be bad, but I think he was gay, and I think he just was acting out on me, like, because I think he's come out since, but like I just remember it. And I was like, this is fucked up. And I remember I got in high school and I had grew so big. You know, I'm a big kid, but like I never let people, you know, mess me around or anything. I'm more puffed up like a pufferfish, you know, than even did damage. But like I intimidate people. And I remember this kid was still just like the same size he was in like the 5th grade. And I was just like, fuck you now. And I just slammed him against the wall. And he didn't even like I didn't feel bad. I didn't bully a lot of people, but like he felt like I deserved this shit. Like I tortured this kid.
Kids are horrible
I think it only happened once, but I was just like, yo, like you ain't getting the shit of me. I just wanted to make a statement, like you ain't getting the shit of me. Like don't even try to talk to me. Like I'm fuck you
Kids
up.
Are horrible.
Anyway,
games,
video games. Oh,
and
man.
here's the big thing is here recently that I know this is kind of ironic, but I've been playing a lot of the zombie survival games. I started out on Rust. We had a little bit of server, and we've kind of gone on.
Did you ever connect to anybody from Spiked on this?
Yeah, we have. Well, actually, and here's the crazy thing, because you know, of course, I put this out through my videos. I had a lot of the people that follow me on YouTube playing. I mean, a lot of the people that watch the blacksmith crap are like, you know, hardcore gamers as well. I mean, so again, it's very easy to say that you're kind of in this weird little subsection, but apparently, there's a lot of us weird bastards in this subsection.
No, I've seen Rust. You know, people at Spike Nation, they like to be hip to things. You know, they're not hipsters, but they like to be the first ones to a thing before it gets popular. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Rust right now is at this perfect thing where it's a little under the radar. It's like when DayZ first came out. And DayZ was like, it took a bitch to work. You couldn't even like install it right. And then DayZ Commander came out, and everybody was able to use it. And then people stopped caring about it. But Rust seems to be doing the trick for everybody right now. So, give me a little synopsis. Like, I know about it. I know what it is. But let's explain it to the viewers. You know, what would you say this game is like?
Well, Rust itself is, and again, it is hard to say what it's going to end up as, because you know, the first issue we've got to talk about before we even get into that. We'll get into it later. Is this early access crapola.
Yes.
But Rust basically is basically a first-person shooter that combines the element of DayZ, which is brutal. I mean, which is brutal,
permadeath, right?
Brutal personal human interaction, combined with just a little bit of building.
And let's explain this to the audience. It's not like the game says kill this player. The greatest thing about DayZ and Rust is that the human element, the humans make the story.
Yeah.
The game just provides the background. Imagine when you play Minecraft, you create your own little story. I'm going to build this tunnel under here, and you use your imagination. And it's like, you could do that with interacting with people now. That's what I've always found fascinating. These games are really the true MMOs. Permadeath, I think, has to happen, because that creates such an emphasis on when their people are friendly. You can always explain when someone's nasty or kills you because that's their instinct, but when someone's friendly, that's when it comes, and that's when it's like, wow, this guy went out of his way. But Trenton, we're going to take a quick break because I can only record 15 minutes, and then we're going to come right back, and we're going to talk more Rust and more early access video games, and we're going to give our opinions. So Trenton, we'll be right back. Oh, well, it's recording now, sorry. All right. Hello, Spiked. We're back with Trenton, and we were talking video games. So, Trenton, we were talking, I don't even remember what we were talking. We were talking about, we're talking about how these games are such player-based. The game just provides the background, the players provide the story and the drama. So, you know what? We heard about Rust. Do you have any fun experiences in Rust? Can you tell us, because DayZ had experience, does Rust have, a memorable moment that you would like to say, or... I know I'm just springing this on you, or is it just a collection?
I can throw this at you. I mean, here's the thing about Rust, is that, you invest a lot of time into going out and mining the resources and whatnot. And what's so incredible about the game from a psychological background is the fact that here you are, you can either spend your time farming resources, or you can go out and gank somebody and take theirs, or a combination, and there's a slider in there. And the problem is that, humans by nature are halfway cooperative, but the problem is we're also murderous bastards.
Yeah, DayZ, it's more like 90% of murderous bastards, and probably 98%. At least in the last couple of years.
And that's right. And that's what's so freaking crazy is this experiment of where when you meet somebody new, do you kill them on sight? It's like you feel like you're not the bad person anymore because you're just doing it to prevent. You're just looking at the stats. You can't blame yourself. Well, but the thing is with what is so creepy about Rust is that when you're in your house tonight, if there are people coming after you and it's just you, let me tell you, there is a visceral reaction. I mean, I have been worried, camped in my little survival shelter while there's two bastards outside with rocks beating their way in to kill me and take the shit.
And let's just point out to the audience that these games, when you log off, your whatever you have, I think, stowed away, or whatever buildings you have, they are there, and they're not guarded unless you put a wall up or something, or I'm sure people are making traps too, right?
Well, but here's the thing, but you're right. The world in Rust, and this is unlike any other, is persistent. So when you log out, they have what they call sleepers. Your body literally falls on the ground and goes to sleep wherever it is. And if somebody stumbles upon you while you're asleep, they beat you to death in your sleep and take off.
Is it better to go, not hide in your house and maybe hide in the woods and sleep?
And that is where the kind of the calculus, the survival calculus.
Yeah, you got to roll the dice.
Comes into place because
you got to think how many people you ran into the woods and beat with a head, and if you hit a lot of them, then you go, all right, the woods aren't safe.
And let me tell you something, and it kind of makes me proud of my species, is there are some creative bastards that figure out how to break into your shit. And I saw there. I mean, you can build these enormous structures. I mean, these huge things, And I would.
Someone can come and take it over.
Well, look here. These guys, like, you know, you could not get through because it was armored at the bottom. Well, these other guys, like said, stored up all this wood and built a stairway that was like 200 foot tall to get into the top. Put some boards down and, like, you know, ran some duct tape across it and got into this place. I mean, and these people that built it spent days constructing it, and then one bastard gets
Trent,
in.
it was you, wasn't it? Wasn't it? You broke into the giant tower.
Oh God, no! I was impressed though. I was like, I mean, I was impressed.
Was there a princess? That's the only question I have.
You know, I don't know unless Kenny was in there. So.
Oh, speaking of that, did you pick up South Park this week?
You know, I haven't. I've been busy in the shop, but I have literally sat and watched game footage like it was an episode of South Park.
I was actually getting really mad. You know, part of me was getting really upset because there was a Spike user posting all the videos, and the gameplay is decent at best. I mean, it's interesting. It's very funny, but you're really ruining it. Don't watch it. Whoever is listening, do not watch one video posted about that game because it's basically an episode of South Park, and it's a really good episode, and it's like, well, you're watching basically all the jokes, and all the good jokes at least. So don't watch any more videos. I mean, if you're going to watch it on Spiked. But if not, just fucking don't watch it, because I recommend you just get the game. I got it for the 360, and it runs great. I haven't had one hiccup or anything like that. And it's basically, I don't even want to tell you, Trent. I don't even want to tell you. There's some fight scenes in this game that are just so stupid. Like, it's hard to talk about.
God, Matt and Trey do stupid
worse,
so well.
It's worse than an episode of South Park. It's like they didn't give a shit. Oh,
I mean, look here. Anybody that can do a feature film, okay, a musical feature film whose audience are people like us on Spike Nation, and one of the songs is nominated for, you know, awards. I mean, there's only 2 songs in there. There is Blame Canada and Uncle Fucker, and one of those actually wins a prestigious award. I mean, what alternate universe have we entered, you know?
They did a musical before that called, like...
Cannibal, the musical. And then there was Orgasmo.
Yeah. Yes, Orgasmo.
But, I mean, again, I love
I remember
those
watching
guys.
these all when I was, like... You know, South Park to me was, like... I was such a kid when that came out. And to have it be a show that sort of, like, evolved over time, and as my brain grew... You know, even watching the early episodes, there's jokes that I didn't get as a kid, and I would repeat them just because they were funny, and I'm just like, oh shit, like, they were so ahead of their fucking time on this, like, and it's such a brilliant game, and that's sort of I think that's the only reason I actually bought it. It's like, hey, you know what, I want to get it and support these guys.
Yes, it's Matt and Trey. I mean, it's Matt and Trey.
This was a good game. I mean, this was a good show for all these years, and this game's good. It's worth $60. I mean, I'm probably gonna. I didn't beat it because Titanfall came out, and
you know, in Titanfall, and like I said, again, I kind of grew up with BF4, but I will tell you, Titanfall looks terribly interesting. I've seen the gameplay, and I played a bit at my buddies, but I think
I might post from some footage later.
Well, I'm having a crisis. I really am, because I am to the point where I am so disgusted with EA that I can honestly say that I enjoy a lot of EA games, but I mean, I never thought I think somebody put a GIF up, or there was something posted where, you know, it was like, you know, EA hands everybody a pile of shit, they eat it, and then you go back to it after you bitch a bit about it. But
those like EA's involvement with this game is more just as a distributor, or, you know, like a publisher.
You know what? Like I said, Steam, when Steam came out,
hold on. The only reason that the EA games are having this problem is because they run on EA servers. I can tell you that as Titanfall goes, I have not experienced any connection issues or anything. I've experienced more issues with Xbox Live and the party system than I have with Titanfall on their servers. So I could just say that I understand, because I had Battlefield for that little bit that it was fucked up, and I traded it in. it was so broken.
Yeah.
And that was EA. And I'm upset over games like SimCity, games that I waited so long.
Yeah.
And it's there was a crack like a couple weeks after it came out. You can play single player, but like that was ridiculous. And it's
it's like taking these very treasured games, at least from my youth, and having U-Bowl make a movie about them. I mean, that's
yeah, Postal. I love Postal 2. Postal 2 gets a bad rep. That was one of my. I remember getting like a tech demo for Postal for my computer when that was going to come out, and like Postal 2, and I was like, this is great. You can piss on dead bodies and fucking burn gasoline. It was like the perfect outlet for a chubby teenager.
Oh man, but anyway, like I said, we got that. But yeah, I'm pretty much done. I mean, I'm saying I am done with EA at this point. I mean, I never thought I'd get to this point because, like so many other people,
I mean, I think isn't like Mass Effect made by EA? Like I think they just bought up like some talented studios. So like, BioWare. Yeah.
And see, BioWare, I mean, had a big history, but I mean, it's just.
Well, yeah, no, BioWare is EA. I don't know, whatever. It's hard, EA, if you look back at the catalog when you were a kid, you don't realize how many games EA made.
Hey, dude, no, you got to once again, my young Padawan, you got to understand that I was on the front line 10 years before you were. I mean, when the first Command and Conquers came out, when you saw that EA symbol come up on a
quality,
look here, you just crapped your pants right there because it was. And see, Command and Conquer actually started, to my knowledge, as a Dune game, like I can't remember who's the guy that wrote the Dune novels.
They actually had a Dune RTS that was incredible.
Okay, that was the original one. Was the original Command and Conquer?
Yeah, it was on like I remember it. It was on like Sega Genesis, and it was like very simple Command and Conquer. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was the original roots, but you got to understand that all this stuff hit the PC first. I mean, once I had the Commodore, my buddy Playel Shippey actually had one of the early IBMs, and on that IBM is also the system that we played the original Wasteland on, which you hadn't seen. There's now a green light. And again, through the years, the Fallout series is based on Wasteland.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with Wasteland. Me and my buddies got into Fallout from a demo disc. It had a bunch of demos. It was weird, and I don't know why we played it. It came in like something free, and I remember Fallout was on there, and it didn't even come out yet. And we looked up Wasteland because I think it was made by the same people.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's been a
Black Isle Studios. Yeah. No, not Black Isle.
Well, Black Isle was what was formed afterwards. Because the original team of Wasteland got scattered, but they've been involved.
Interplay. I think it was Interplay. I don't know. It's hard to remember.
Yeah, but they were involved with that, and if I understand correctly now, a lot of the same people that worked on the original Wasteland game are working on Wasteland 2. But again, there's so much in the Fallout series that are references back to Wasteland. But I mean, again, these games that had a tremendous impact. I mean, here I'm 37 now, and let me tell you, I remember the Scorpotron in Las Vegas. All right, which I know means nothing to you.
Well, listen, I'm very familiar with Fallout, and I have played the original Wasteland. It just was incredibly dated, but it was ahead of its time. It was you could do quests at your own pace. You could do in certain orders. There was randomized interactions, and it had like the painted pictures of the zombie. Like I remember seeing it, and like, and it, I can always, give credit to where credit's due, and I actually played the Wasteland Kickstarter, and it was all right. It was just, it's sort of trying to be that Fallout 3 game that never came out, really. You know what I'm saying? It was there was a Fallout 3 game that was supposed to come out, and they actually have like gameplay footage online, and I felt like it was more trying to be that than the original Wasteland.
Right. Well, I tell you, speaking of which things, while we've got a little bit of time here, so I know everybody, we've been running our like mouth forever.
I know, this is hard,
God,
man.
it's hard. So much.
When you talk about Spiked, I can put it in order. When you're talking about video games, I'm just like, la, 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 la.
So much I want to say.
We have a, you know what, we might take a break right now because I don't want to have a minute left. And we'll take a break right now, and then we'll wrap it up.
Fantastic.
We'll talk about, I'll talk about a little early access.
Absolutely.
We didn't even talk about it, and then we'll come back to something else. All right, Trent. And we're talking about what's going on in the shop. That's
fantastic.
All right, so
there is so much to talk about. I'm sitting here running my mouth because, outside of blacksmithing, my games are just like my life. So, but
I know.
But all right. First thing I want to hit on is this early access crap, because the other day I fired up Steam. And literally 7 of the 10 games that was on my front featured load-in were early access games, and this is games that have not even been finished. In fact, with Rust, this has been the biggest complaint, because when they let Rust go, they sold, I think, 750,000 copies at $20 a pop. Okay.
Yeah.
And so everybody gets this early access. They don't tell you how complete the game is, but people were like wigging out. It's like, look, there's like, you didn't say it was this raw,
Yeah. And I got burned. I have a bad opinion about these games. I haven't even bought the new DayZ because I was burned so bad. When DayZ originally became hugely popular, there was a game that came out at the and tried to capitalize on it. It was called The War Z, and I think it had to change its name because they don't even own the copyright. That's how snatch and grab this was. They had to change the name to Infested Survivor Series. That's what it was. And I remember when this game was gonna come out, they showed gameplay footage, and it was rehearsed. Looking back, I don't know how I fell for it. You could tell it was scripted. They had people talking, but they were sort of implying that it was people playing online at random and that they were just talking to each other. And they had this whole event where they ran into another team, and it was this long drawn out battle. And when this game came out, it was so nothing like anything. It was sort of similar. Remember when Aliens Colonial Marines came out?
Oh, yeah.
And they had that footage of it from E3 the year before it came out, and it looked 3 times better, and everyone's like, what the fuck did you show us that day? And they must have built a vertical slice, is what it's called, where you build the best tech demo you can and then show that off. They must have did that and shown it for gameplay footage, because this game was so bad, so what it said it was going to be, and it was filled with microtransactions. They were just stealing people's money, and then the game developer went online and just started calling people fags on the message board.
I know. That's insane. And look here. And the problem is, now I'm not sure. I think there's been a few posts.
This was $30, dude. This was $30 for the alpha.
I know. That's crazy.
Ridiculous. These games, even DayZ, I will not pay. I don't know. I couldn't launch Steam. I was gonna launch it, but I think it costs $40 to get the shit. And if they want, you gotta tell people by getting their game and supporting it early that you're not gonna rip them off. So I think you can't charge more than $20. You gotta reward the people that are supporting your game early, not make them pay double the price it's going to be at retail, and fucking give them a better game when it comes out.
Well, you know what? And look here, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate on here, because Wasteland, the initial for the Wasteland is $60. Okay, and they clearly say that the actual retail game will probably be less than that. And you know what? It's kind of like dating somebody. There really are no rules but what you make. It's amazing what kind of shit you can get away with when you're dating somebody if you up front say, look, here's how this is going to play out. There may be fruit in places that probably fruit shouldn't be, but if you come on board, this is what you are in for. And if somebody signs up, that's perfectly okay,
And, well, you know what? I will say that, Wasteland had a more platform. It was on Kickstarter. When you buy these games on Steam, it's not presented sort of that way. When you go to Kickstarter, they make a video, explaining this to you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they say, listen, back us now. And those are really fans and they want to see it. I'm talking about, I didn't get it on Kickstarter. I didn't buy it. I bought it on, I think, Steam, and it was not displayed like that. Like, it's hard. What percentage of people did you think just buy these games on the Steam, when you're saying the first 7 games you're looking at, and then they get in and they're like, this is not even a game, like, and it doesn't explain it good enough. Like, it says in a small thing on most things, like, this is not, final gameplay or something like that. Like, I could see just having like $40 in my Steam wallet as like a young kid and just going like, oh shit, buy,
Well, but here's the thing, because, dude, we kind of are the demographic. The average age of the gamer now is like 33 years old. And the trick is that we are still those kids, but now, for the most part, we have access to, well, I won't say we all have jobs, but we do have more money than we did when we were 17.
I traded in stuff to get South
Park. But here again, that's the deal, dude. I mean, this is a huge portion of our life, and we will spend money to do these things because that's what we enjoy.
We want to relive our games from the past, and that's what the most of these Kickstarters have been. And they're not really, those Kickstarters. It's unfair to lump these Kickstarters into early access in general because I think Steam is more of the culprit of early access. And listen, I got spurned by the War Z, but people seem to be enjoying like Starbound and these kind of games, and you seem to be enjoying Rust.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And it's just like here. There's been the money that has been made off of our childhood is staggering. Okay, my God, look at the Transformers franchise. Marvel.
It makes you think why they didn't do it more or sooner.
Well, look at Batman. Now, Batman's the biggest thing, and like I said, I want to get on to the shop before we absolutely run out of time.
Yeah.
But look at the Batman deal. The first Batman came out. They did not think it was going to really do anything, and so they let the comic book writers have it, and it did very well. And it did so well, they went back in and they snatched it away from the comic book writers, and then they came up with what was the one with George Clooney and the neon? Tim Burton did it. I mean, who in the hell?
Oh, Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought you were talking about the Batman Begins because I did not like Batman Begins, but I like the other ones. But
again,
my
have
favorite
to set your clock
Batman
back 10
Returns
years.
with what's it called? With Danny DeVito as the Penguin and Michael Keaton. That's my favorite one ever, and I do enjoy the first one with Jack Nicholson. I do not like But like when I was a kid, I liked Batman Forever. Now I don't really enjoy, even though Jim Carrey's pretty good in it. And
look here, Jim Carrey's crowning.
Nicole Kidman's really cute.
Jim Carrey's crowning moments when he came out of the ass of the rhino in Ace Ventura. I mean, that's just look here. He is immortalized in my mind.
Let's talk about that. Forget your shop, Trent.
Talk about crawling down the ass of a rubber rhino.
Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls.
Oh, God. And look here, and my mother, who is a very well mannered woman, who originally came from money. Look, her favorite fucking.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, that's usually the way it goes, and it's the way it should go.
Anyway, but like I said, but what's happened now is they finally realized is that these people were not the dumbest common denominator because as comic book writers, a lot of the storylines were very dramatic. It was very clean, with like the comics code and everything, but it was some heavy hitting dramatic stuff. There was good storylines, and they were proven storylines. And so when the movie execs finally got it to the head, they said, "Here, just do it." And so now you've got
the best thing. You basically got your scripts written already.
Absolutely.
And you got what the people want to see. The people don't want to see divergent from what the comic books are. They want to see what the comic books are about, experienced in camera. So
let me tell you, it is the Jurassic Park effect, okay? Because when I came up, dinosaurs were my thing. I mean, it was straight up Calvin and Hobbes. I was a dinosaur nut. And let me tell you, one of the most astounding moments, and literally one of the things I am so happy to have been alive at this time, is when I saw the T-Rex on Jurassic Park for the first time. The first time that I got to see what looked like a real dinosaur on the big screen. That
shit still looks good, man.
It was a defining moment of my childhood, and literally one of the things I say, I am glad to draw breath to be here with that because that was so important to me.
The perfect use of CGI and practical effects, and it's amazing that it still looks better than a lot of movies that come out now. And you watch it back, there's a couple scenes that are like, wow, that's kind of cheesy, but for the most part, it's amazing. And you're like, oh my God, how did they do this?
And I know, look here, and to add another facet to this wonderful gem, you got when I was young, we have a lot of artifacts. We're close to the bedrock here where I live in Georgia, and so Native American artifacts, fossils are a big thing with me. And like I said, I'm just going to have to flat out nerd out. My dirty secret is that I am just a nut job for what's called Pleistocene megafauna, because
yeah, exactly.
For mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, all of these were down here, and we actually dig for a lot of the fossils, and I am just crazy for the
I
stuff.
smell a reality TV show.
Oh my God, dude.
Dinosaur hunting with
God. Dude, we have
blacksmith outfit.
Oh, you're gonna love this. One of these creeks down here had cut into the limestone bedrock here, and we actually found a mastodon skeleton. We actually have pieces of it that were actually sent down to the University of Florida. So anyway, no, hold it.
Yeah, anyway, we're running out of time, and hold on, I want to make a plea. If Bannock, if you're listening, I want to see a picture of Trenton battling a dinosaur. All right.
All right. So cool things in the shop. So what's been
cool things in your shop?
Yeah,
because that's what's most important to us and the Spike Nation. That's what the Spike Nation viewers.
And I hadn't produced a video in about a week or two. There's been some big changes going on with my life here. Oh God, Jesus, I wish. But
you're turning into a woman like Bruce Jenner. Is that what we're doing?
Actually, I'm trying to import a few women. You understand?
Oh man.
So the biggest
thing is
my family, I've kind of gotten back together with my family, and we're working on a project, and we actually now have an airboat. So there's going to...
This is the most amazing thing. I'm like the workaholics guy. If I hear the word airboat, it's like the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life.
laughing. I was like, you know what I need?
It's in your backyard, right?
It is. Literally, it is. No, I'm going to have some footage of it. It's got a stroker engine in it, and I was laughing the other day because I was watching Archer, and Archer's so obsessed with airboats. I'm like, I need to put on the Archer's outfit and go, wow!
I got to watch Archer. Apparently, it's the best show ever, and I love the Bob's Burger guys, so it doesn't.
Yeah, that's John.
I would love it. I just haven't watched it.
Wait, you remember C-Lab 2021 on Adult Swim?
Yeah,
all right.
I liked it. I wasn't the hugest fan, but there was some funny instances.
Well, that was the original one that they did. Then they did Frisky Dingo. That was their second series. I mean, these are all the same people that are writing. And then to go mainstream, they had to get rid of Killface and the ambiguous sexual organs and make it a little more mainstream, and that's what produced Archer. But what was so funny, and again, I know this is just a coat of many colors.
We got to go back to your airboat.
Anyway, so we're back on the airboat, but we're going to be taking it out. I'm going to have some footage, and of course, I've got the boar spear on the airboat.
Oh my God! No, it's just like Road Warrior. You're like sitting there. You need to get like a Mohawk helmet and just fucking go down.
Oh my God, it gets better because the reason that we had an airboat before, but what we do is we actually go out and we bow fish on the lake. So we're going to have an airboat.
Like with a crossbow?
Well, not with a crossbow, with a compound bow that fires an arrow that has a line to it, and you hunt fish with the bow. So we're going to have the boar spear, bows and arrows, and an airboat, and it's going to be
What are you hunting, snakeheads?
No, we have a grass carp, and we have a couple of different game fish down here. And so...
I love fishing. I'm going to come down to Georgia and go on that airboat with you one day, man.
If I can...
That's my heaven, Forget Gladiator when he's putting his hands on, like, the wheat in the field. Mine is fishing, compound bow fishing with Trenton in a Road Warrior airboat. And that's where I'm going to go when I die.
What's the crazy thing is if I can find my buddies. Now, look here, I'll do some wild shit. But we do have those folks that do what they call noodling down here, and that's basically where you...
That's where they grab the catfish.
You just cram your arm up in a hole in the river and try to have it eat your arm and try to drag it out. It's not...
Because they have that, like, sandpaper teeth, they just suck on you.
Oh, dude, they're bad news. But, hey, like I said, hopefully next week we're going to have the airboat video and everything out, and I'm get back in the groove of things. It's just been terribly busy down here recently with filming the television show and all that kind of stuff. So
That sounds great, Trenton.
But anyway,
you don't have to apologize to us.
well, look here. People really enjoy the videos, and when you do these things, you really want to try to keep a consistent schedule. But literally, this is something that we try to cram in around the rest of our lives. But
and we appreciate everything you did.
Well, look here. I enjoy doing it because you guys, the great thing about you guys is you're not from down here. And when I get a chance to show off my culture and my place and have people, look at it, and even if you don't particularly like it, but say, I wouldn't live that way, but by God, it's pretty interesting. That really validates, what I get to do, and it's really good. And then, like I said, and I really appreciate everybody that watches and supports it.
Well, thank you, Trenton, and thanks a lot, Trenton, for stopping by and talking with us and helping me with the Spike Nation podcast. I'm looking forward to having you on again. And Trenton, do you have any last messages for the audience?
For some reason, I keep thinking that we're going to do like a 15-minute podcast and cover.
I know this goodbye is gonna turn into a half.
No shit. My God, I keep thinking something like everybody doesn't have time to sit here and listen to me run my mouth for an hour.
No, they do. And they want to. Well, Trenton, love you. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for giving us an update. And to everybody on the Spike Nation audience listening, me and Trenton bid you a fond farewell.
And if you're over there where Ukraine is firing up, be safe over there. Don't get your ass shot or beat by the riot police.
Yeah, stay away. You can get all the updates on the Crimea revolution at PurgatoryIronworks.com.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Don't get shot.
All right.